Keep yourself in the loop of everything football on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. The latest news on and off the field, be it college football, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC to the NFL. We've got you covered. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
And welcome to the GSMC Football Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. And as always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. Alright, so I guess this is going to be Le'Veon Bell's last season as Steeler, since they didn't want to pay him. Alright, we had deadlines going on today. Alright. The last day, teams could work out a long-term deal with their players before they are stuck playing on the franchise tag. None of them got done. All right? So we're going to have a lot of good free agents next year. All right? We're going to be talking about that for the first segment. Second and third segment, we're going to be spending it on rookie quarterbacks, okay? Talking about who should start, who should, and all that. Also give my thoughts on Josh Rosen, the Cardinals, and everything else. And then for the fourth segment, we will be going back to the T.O. and Hall of Fame little saga, drama, whatever you want to call it, because Michael Irvin has now put his 2 cents in, and Michael Irvin has said what he said about it did make sense and all, but I'm just going to give my thoughts on it in that fourth segment, like I said. All right, so that's how today's show is going to go. Okay. Now we're only about 2 weeks away from training camp. We're so close, you guys. All right. We've all worked really hard to be good and wait for football to get here. All right. It seems like February 2nd was years ago. In reality, it was only a few months ago. But nonetheless, it's been a bit rough. Okay. Next year, though, 2019, we won't really have to worry. We'll have the AAF going on, the Alliance of American Football. Still hate that name. Okay, but nonetheless, it seems that the AAF is getting smart. The AAF is pretty much just creating itself to turn into a development league for the NFL. Okay, the XFL, it seems, is turning into a league to rival the NFL and AAF. Okay. So in reality, the XFL probably only going to be around for a couple years. The AAF could sustain long-term success, meaning if they really are trying to become a feeder league for the NFL, developmental type of thing, and the NFL embraces it, the AAF isn't going anywhere. Okay? So, I don't know. We're not going to be talking about that or anything like that for today's show, but nonetheless, something that came up and I wanted to give my thoughts on. All right? So there's that. But nonetheless, like I said, I mean, the Steelers' Le'Veon Bell had until 1 o'clock Pacific time, 4 o'clock Eastern time to work out a deal. And the Steelers just felt that he wasn't worth it. Okay? His agent made some comments on it. Let me pull up his agent's comments. Okay? So his agent, Adisa Bakari, said his intention was to retire a Steeler. But now that there is no deal, the practical reality is this now likely will be Le'Veon's last season as a Steeler. It became clear the Steelers wanted to pay the position, not the player. Okay, meaning you got Devontae Freeman, who is making about $8 million a year. Okay, that's the highest yearly salary for running backs right now. All right, and Let's talk about this, okay? Devontae Freeman, like I said, yearly salary, the highest paid running back in the league at $8 million. Devontae Freeman couldn't even put on Le'Veon Bell's cleats. Couldn't even shine him. Couldn't even dust him off. Okay? Devontae Freeman does not come close to Le'Veon Bell as far as a running back. And I'm not trying to say that Devontae Freeman isn't good or anything like that. It's just Le'Veon Bell's just that much better. Okay? And that's just the fact of the matter. other than Falcons fans, I don't think you could really find anyone who would tell you, oh yeah, Devontae Freeman is a better running back than Le'Veon Bell. Okay, so if Devontae Freeman is making $8 million a year, then I have no problem with Le'Veon asking for $14, $13 million a year. Okay? Like I said, Devontae Freeman, great running back. Near top 5. For me, it goes Le'Veon, David Johnson, Ezekiel Elliott, Todd Gurley, and then LaShawn McCoy. Okay, and then you could have Devontae Freeman right there at number 6. All right. But nonetheless, I mean, if you're the Steelers, it's ridiculous. Okay, you're really going to let a player with this kind of talent walk away next season? Le'Veon's not coming back to the Steelers. All right, that's pretty much set in stone right there. Okay, Steeler fans holding out hope for Le'Veon Bell to sign an extension next year. They couldn't get one going the last 2 years. What makes you think they're going to get one next season? Okay? So I really hope that Steeler fans really appreciate Le'Veon for this last season. Okay, because you're going to go from Le'Veon Bell to some rookie running back, and it's going to be like night and day, let me tell you. Okay? It's going to be completely different. You mean to tell me that maybe the Steelers could find a guy who could run in between the tackles better than anyone, outside the tackles better than anyone, receive the ball at the backfield better than anyone? I don't think so, dude. All right, Le'Veon Bell by far is the most complete back in the NFL. Okay, only Todd Gurley and David Johnson can do the things that he can do. All right, but they don't do it as well as Le'Veon does. Okay. And this has always been the Steelers' mantra is don't play players what they want, pay them what the market says they deserve. All right? And according to the NFL and the contracts, running backs, they deserve about $8 million, $9 million a year. Okay? And people now try to tell us that the running back position is making a comeback and all that. Don't give me all that. When you got DeMarco Murray, who's off a 1,200-yard rushing season, 2 years ago was already out the league. Okay, we're one of the greatest running backs of all time, Adrian Peterson, can't find a job. All right. I mean, it's hilarious. Okay? Oh, running backs are getting dropped in the first round again. They're back. No, they're not. Running backs are getting thrown away like garbage once they hit 30. Okay, you got Peter King today, one of the smartest guys among NFL journalists and all that, saying that, asking the question, how much longer can Le'Veon keep doing this? Until, basically he's hitting that until he gets old and all that. Le'Veon Bell's 26. Okay? And we're already talking about when his career is going to be going down. Are you serious? I mean, look at it. Okay, you got Devontae Freeman making $8.2 million a year, only $17 guaranteed. LaShawn McCoy, $8 million a year, $18 guaranteed. Okay? Jerick McKinnon has the third highest yearly salary among running backs at $7.5 million. That's a problem. Okay? Jerick McKinnon, the career backup. Okay? The career backup is the third highest paid running back amongst yearly salary. Okay? Isn't that a bit of a problem? The only running back that's not really getting thrown away right now at 30 is LaShawn McCoy. He's 30 right now. Let me see what his deal's up in 2019. Okay, LaShawn McCoy hasn't showed any real steps of slowing down, but of course that's not going to matter because once you hit 30, they don't love you anymore in the NFL. Then you got Fournette, the fourth highest paid running back. All of his deals guaranteed, so I'm not going to get into that. All right, Lamar Miller, fifth highest paid running back. All right, $6.5 million yearly salary, $14 million guaranteed. Let's see, Deion Lewis is up there, Ezekiel Elliott. The rookies don't really count because they're all getting guaranteed deals. Okay, isn't it a bit of a problem here? I mean, it's ridiculous. All right, at least Le'Veon gets to make $14 million this year. But nonetheless, I mean, he ain't coming back to the Steelers. There's no way. Absolutely no way. Okay? And, I mean, I think the Steelers are going to come to regret it. Okay, because you got Mason Rudolph back there. All right? Ben Roethlisberger says he wants to play 5 more years. He's probably got 3 more left. At most. All right? You're going to bring Mason Rudolph in. Why wouldn't you surround him with the best team possible? All right, I don't really think the Steelers are thinking real long-term here unless they just figure, you know what, we can replace Le'Veon just easily. But in reality, you can't do that. All right. Now I've been seeing people with the whole notion that, oh, now that they're not paying Le'Veon, you could fix up your defense by picking up free agents. Okay. No, that's not how it works. The successful teams in the league re-sign their own players to big deals and draft. Okay, and keep going through that cycle. How many teams do you know who have signed plenty of free agents have worked out? All right, not many, if any. Okay, but nonetheless, Steelers feel Le'Veon Bell isn't worth what he's asking. He's worth what the market says he's worth, and that's ridiculous. All right, but nonetheless, like I said, I think they're going to come to regret it. Okay. As for other players who didn't reach deals with their teams, DeMarcus Lawrence, one of the best defensive ends in the league last season, going to be a free agent in 2019. Ziggy Ansah, going to be a free agent in 2019. LaMarcus Joyner, safety for the Rams, going to be a free agent in 2019. Okay? I mean, 2019 free agency class is going to look great, but nonetheless, hopefully these guys all stay healthy. All right? Because they all deserve to get paid. And as for Le'Veon Bell, I mean, there was rumblings as if he could sit out the first half of the season. I'm not sure who comes up with that stuff, and if you do, can you stop, please? Le'Veon's already talked about how he wants it to be the best year he's ever had as a Steelers player. All right, so, I mean, whoever's putting that out there, do your job better, okay? But nonetheless, I mean, yeah, Steelers feel Le'Veon Bell isn't worth what he was asking, so he'll no longer be a Steeler after this season, I'm counting on. All right, so there's that, but nonetheless, we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Jets. All right, I'm going to probably talk about a couple of other teams with rookie quarterbacks. Just more so, I want to talk about what chances do these quarterbacks have as far as these rookie quarterbacks as far as starting week one, and who should and who shouldn't start week one. All right, we're going to do that for the next two segments. So stay tuned, and I will be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
All right. Now, we move on to rookie quarterbacks. Okay. The most confusing players ever in the NFL, okay, are rookie quarterbacks. You're not really sure if they're going to turn out good, if they're going to turn out bad, if they're going to turn out average. Okay. You pretty much, if your favorite team's taking one, you're hoping it's the one that's going to lead you to a Super Bowl. You're hoping it's the one who's going to spend 15 years on your team. Okay? You're hoping that this is your franchise right here. Most of the time, it doesn't work out. Okay? Just go ask the Miami Dolphins and Cleveland Browns. They know all about it. I mean, Cleveland's gone through every QB in the book, so has Miami. Miami right now is just hoping that Ryan Tannehill is the guy. You know what? We're 6 years in on Tannehill? They're still trying to figure out if he's the guy. Not a great spot to be in. Okay? Not a great spot at all. And as for the Browns, speaking of rookie quarterbacks, is Baker Mayfield going to be the guy? That's remained to be seen, but looking at track records, okay, Big 12 quarterbacks have never really ever turned out to be good, okay? And short quarterbacks have never really turned out to be good. Baker Mayfield played at Oklahoma and is 5'10", 6 feet? Doesn't really sound like a recipe for success. All right. They took him number 1 overall. Baker Mayfield's been defying the odds, meaning there was a walk-on at Texas Tech, ended up transferring from there, won the Heisman. All right. And made the college football playoff, and which is an absolute monster for Oklahoma. Given the fact that, let's not act like these Big 12 defenses or SEC defenses or anything like that. Okay. Let me find out. Let me look at the history of Cleveland Browns quarterbacks. Okay. This is going to be good. So, let's see. And I mean, it's not a great list. Last year, DeShone Kizer. They gave up on him after a year. Okay, all they did was give him 1 year. All right? Drafted him in the second, third round, I think it was? I don't know why they started Kizer so early, too. Okay? DeShone Kizer has the tools to become a solid NFL quarterback, but those tools needed to be developed. You can't just throw him out there and expect him to be great. Okay? And then let's not forget Hugh Jackson, middle of last season, was pretty much playing hot potato with his quarterbacks. All right? One starts here, the other one starts here. You get pulled here, the other one gets pulled there. All right? Completely just terrible. Just terrible as far as their, handling of DeShone Kizer. Okay, now he's with the Packers, where chances are he's probably going to sit behind Rodgers for a few years. Okay, like I said, all DeShone Kizer needs was some development. All right, give DeShone Kizer 3 years behind Aaron Rodgers. I think he'll be a good quarterback. Was my favorite quarterback coming out of the draft last year. All right, and I still think he's got something in him. Okay. But nonetheless, I mean, it's the Browns. Okay, so you took Kizer last year. That obviously didn't work out. Okay, the year before that, you had RG3, Josh McCown, and Cody Kessler. That didn't work out. 2015, Josh McCown, Johnny Manziel, Austin Davis. Obviously, the Johnny Manziel experience did not work out. Okay, 2014, Brian Hoyer starts 13 games, Manziel 2, Connor Shaw 1. Brian Hoyer didn't work out. 2013, Jason Campbell, Brandon Weeden, Brian Hoyer. They drafted, listen. Okay, listen to this. The Browns drafted a near 30-year-old in the first round. I think he was 27 or 26. That's still pretty old for a first-round quarterback. Okay? Nonetheless, though, I mean, Brandon Weeden's still in the league. I think he's the backup for the Texans right now. I don't understand that. Okay, I think we've all seen that Brandon Weeden is not an NFL-type quarterback, meaning he just doesn't got it. He just doesn't have it. Okay? No disrespect to Brandon Weeden, but, I mean, I'm sure college, he was great for Oklahoma State. And that's what they did. Brandon Weeden was tearing it up at Oklahoma State. Remember, Big 12 quarterback. Big 12 quarterbacks don't necessarily work out in the NFL. Brandon Weeden did not work out. Okay? Also had Dad Lewis starting the game in 2012. 2011, Colt McCoy, Seneca Wallace. None of those guys were there to be the starters going forward. 2010, Colt McCoy, Jake Delhomme, Seneca Wallace. 3 starters that year. All right, you know what? I never realized this is ridiculous. I'm just now putting 2 and 2 together. The Browns, since 2001, have not had a quarterback play all 16 games. Okay? They have not had a quarterback start all 16 games. That is terrible. I mean, I didn't realize that. I always thought that the Browns' QB situation was just awful, one of the worst things ever. But when you put it together that since 2001, all right, 2001, Tim Couch was their quarterback, started all 16 games. Okay, from 2002 on, they haven't gone a full season with one guy starting all 16 games. I mean, 2002, you had Tim Couch starting 14. Kelly Holcomb started 2. 2003, Couch and Holcomb split, started 8 games each. 2004, Jeff Garcia started 10. Holcomb started 2. McCown started 4. Luke McCown, that is. 2005, Trent Dilfer started 11. Charlie Fry started 5. 2006, Charlie Fry started 13. Derek Anderson 3. 2007, Derek Anderson started 15. Charlie Fry 1. Came close there. 2008, Derek Anderson started 9. Brady Quinn 3. Ken Dorsey 3. Bruce Gradkowski 1. This is awful. 2009, Brady Quinn 9. Derek Anderson 7. Okay. 2010, you had Colt McCoy starting 8. Delhomme 4. Seneca Wallace 4. 2011, you had Colt McCoy starting 13. Seneca Wallace 3. 2012, Brandon Whedon started 15. Thad Lewis got 1 start. 2013, you had Campbell starting 8. Whedon 5. Hoyer 3. 2014, Hoyer 13. Manziel 2. Connor Shaw 1. 2015, McCown 8. Manziel 6. Austin Davis 2. 2016, Robert Griffin started 5 times. McCown started 3 times. Kessler started 8 times. 2017, you had Kaiser starting 15 times. All right, Hogan only once. That's ridiculous. All right. I mean, honestly, that's just bad management. Okay? How are you not going to have one guy start all 16 games? I mean, come on now. Okay? That's a problem right there. I'll say that. All right, and that does kind of scare me as far as Baker Mayfield. Okay? Because, you know what? I want to believe in Baker Mayfield. I want to believe that the Browns are going to get it right this time. Okay, but when you look at that, doesn't that scare you a bit? Honestly. I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay? And, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. And as far as whether or not should Baker start, I think that you got to go Tyrod. Tyrod is proven, meaning you could see he can win in the NFL. All right, or at least get you to the playoffs. And as far as Baker, there's no rush to put him out there. There's absolutely zero rush. There's no incentive to put him out there either. No one's expecting the Browns to do anything great right this season. Okay? But honestly, I mean, yeah, I don't see Baker starting it all this season, nor should he. The Browns need to get this one right, and they need to have a process. It seems that the Browns are basically the last 20 or so years have been just chickens with their heads getting caught off running around. No clue what's going on. Okay? And I just feel like the Browns just could, whatever you've done the last 20 or so years as far as regarding quarterbacks, completely get away from that. Just completely change that up. Okay? Because whatever you've been doing has been awful. All right? So that's my advice to the Browns. Whatever you've been doing lately, change it up. Because it's been terrible. You have no clue what you've been doing. All right. But it's going to be interesting. As far as this rookie quarterback, Baker Mayfield, yeah, he shouldn't see the field once this season. Okay? I could care less what he does in training camp or whatnot. All right? Tyrod needs to be the guy for 16 games this season. That's the start right there. You can't be having this carousel of quarterbacks going every single year. You need some stability, and that's the word I've been looking for, is stability. The Browns have not had stability at the quarterback position, even if he's terrible. Okay? You just need some type of stability. All right? So we'll see if they're able to provide that, but I don't think they'll be able to. But it's going to be interesting. And like I said, I wanted to get into more rookie quarterbacks here, but we're going to talk more about the other ones going on in the next segment. All right, this one ended up turning into a complete Browns segment. But, I mean, when you're talking Browns, it's what's going to happen. Okay? I mean, there's way too much to unpack here for us to get into other guys and give them enough time. All right? But like I said, I mean, just this year for the Browns, just show stability. Show that you have a plan for once. Okay, because when you're going through 4 starting quarterbacks at a time in a season, that's a huge problem. All right? So we'll see what they end up doing, but nonetheless, I mean, that's the word. That's the word for them this season: stability. Okay, we get stability. Browns may be onto something. All right, but nonetheless, I mean, we'll see. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be getting into the Sam Darnolds, the Josh Allens, and all those other ones next. So stay tuned, and I'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. Spent that second segment talking about Baker Mayfield and the Browns quarterback situation. All right, I think the Browns, whoever they pick to be their starter this season, needs to start all 16 games this season. All right, there's a point where, like I said, since 2001 was the last season where they had a guy start all 16 games. All right, from 2002 on, it's been 2 different quarterbacks every year, sometimes 4. Okay? There's absolutely no stability there. How can you expect to get one right when you're just pretty much just cycling through? Okay? Just shuffling through each quarterback. I mean, honestly. All right? But nonetheless, I mean, yeah, if whatever the Browns decided, whether it's Baker Mayfield or whether it's Tyrod, and I'm assuming it's going to be Tyrod. Okay, if you start Tyrod, do not bring in Baker Mayfield this season to start, no matter what. Okay. And if you start Baker, leave him out there. All right. There's a point where you finally have to show some stability. Not even get it right, just show that, you know what, we're going to stick with a plan for once. All right, because you know what, stability and the Browns just don't seem to go together. Had a long-term plan, okay, with Sashi Brown as their general manager to get picks and all that stuff and to build from the ground up. That plan was on its way, and 2 years into that plan, they fire him. Okay. That's my whole point here. There's no stability with the Browns. It's always just something's going on. Okay. So we'll see maybe if eventually they feel like getting it right, but nonetheless, like I said, I mean, the Browns have been a dumpster fire for way too long. All right. And eventually, when that fire in that dumpster is going on for 20 years, it's tough to get it out because obviously there's something keeping it lit. All right. And I'm not sure what it is, but maybe there is a constant within this Browns organization that has been there for so long. Okay. And is the reason why the Browns have not done a thing since they came back to Cleveland and became a team again. All right. Because honestly, I mean, what team have we ever seen be this bad? All right, for this long. With like no outlier years where you make the playoffs or anything like that. Okay, because I mean, bringing it out, I mean, you got the Miami Dolphins, okay? Pretty much have been searching for their quarterback since Dan Marino, but nonetheless have made the playoffs a few times since he left. San Francisco, the 49ers, they'll have years where they're bad. All right, they'll rebuild. They'll be fine. They'll be bad again, then they'll rebuild. Okay, that's a normal cycle. Be bad, get good, be bad, get good. Okay, but the Browns have literally been bad for so long. All right, there's got to be something in that organization or something going on that has kept them this bad. All right, because like I said, there's nothing else like this in any sport, I'd say, as far as the 4 major ones. I mean, I'm literally trying to think right now, who has been bad as long as the Browns have? And as bad as the Browns have. Okay? Not many. If there's not a team like that. Okay? But nonetheless, we'll see. All right. But now we talk about the other rookie quarterbacks. All right. So there might be a QB competition brewing over in New York. All right. Over with the Jets. You got Teddy Bridgewater there. You got Josh McCown. And you got Sam Darnold. Okay. It'd be pretty ridiculous if they signed or kept Darnold in there, made him the starter, and kept McCown and Bridgewater on the team still. All right. I think that the Jets, what they need to do is, have Darnold compete with Bridgewater and McCown. Okay. See what he could do, but nonetheless, the real QB competition for this season should be between Teddy Bridgewater and Josh McCown. All right. I truly think that. Sam Darnold, yes, he could be the best quarterback out of this draft class, but nonetheless, I think that you maybe should give the guy time to develop. All right. Because fact of the matter is, just like the Browns need to get theirs right with Baker Mayfield, the Jets got to get theirs right too. Okay. You know what? I've been looking at lists of teams' quarterbacks over their history. Let's take a look at the Jets. Okay. Because the fact of the matter is, it hasn't been great. Chad Pennington is like the last good quarterback I can remember with the Jets. Okay. So let's see. Last year they had McCown starting 13 games, Petty 3. 2016 you had Fitzpatrick 11, Geno 1, Bryce Petty 4. 2015 Fitzpatrick started all 16 games. That was that one year where Brandon Marshall absolutely went off. All right, 2014 Geno started 3 games, Michael Vick started 3. I forget that Michael Vick started or played for the Jets. I completely forgot about that. I remember he played for the Steelers and all that, but for the Jets, the Steelers, Eagles, and Falcons, obviously, but Michael Vick was a Jet at one point in his career. All right, 2013, Geno Smith starts 16 games. 2012, you got Sanchez starting 15, McElroy 1. 2010, 2011, Sanchez starts all 16 games. Look at this, okay? Would anyone say that Mark Sanchez is a great quarterback? No. Would anyone say Geno Smith is a great quarterback? No. Would anyone say Ryan Fitzpatrick is a great quarterback? No. Okay? And this kind of ties in with my point about the Browns' stability. Even though they weren't great, the Jets knew they had to throw them out there, okay, and see what they can do. Okay, it wasn't all this, okay, we're going to start this guy. Oh, he's not really working out. Let's start this guy. Okay, no, let's go back and start the other guy again. All right. The Jets go through with a plan. And that's the whole point I'm trying to make about the Browns. But nonetheless, 2008, you had Favre starting 16 games. And then before that, it was all Chad Pennington and Vinny Testaverde basically just switching up, starting for each other. All right. The last great Jets quarterback, Vinny Testaverde, that's not necessarily great. Ken O'Brien, that's not great either. The Jets have never really had a great quarterback. Okay, don't give me this whole Joe Namath. Joe Namath was overrated. All right. But honestly, it hasn't been great at all. All right, they've never had that true great quarterback. And like I said, people wouldn't say Joe Namath. Joe Namath is overrated. All right. Brett Favre for maybe a season. They've never had their guy. All right. So let's see. Joe Namath only made the postseason twice in the NFL. Let's see. Richard Todd made the postseason twice. Ken O'Brien made the postseason twice. Vinny Testaverde made it twice. Chad Pennington made it 3 times. Sanchez made it twice. All right. So like I said, they're just like the Browns. They got to get this one right. Okay. And the Jets, we talk about them a lot. They're a very overrated franchise. Okay, that New York media market does wonders for those teams out there. Like the Knicks. The Knicks are terrible, but nonetheless, we talk about them as if they're on the par with the Lakers and Celtics. The Jets, the real team in New York should be the Giants. They should be the team you talk about. All right, but nonetheless, like I said, as far as Darnold, I wouldn't start him. I'd go more with Teddy Bridgewater or Josh McCown. Okay? And then out in Buffalo, If I'm the head coach in Buffalo, Josh Allen is not seeing the field once this season. Okay, not because I don't think he's ready, because he has absolutely no one to throw to out there. I'm gonna build that guy a team before I just throw him out there with nothing to work with. I mean, come on now. All right, we got to see what's going on with Sean McCoy's whole legal situation. I mean, as far as the receivers, it's probably one of the worst in the NFL so far as the receiving corps. All right, defense is good, but like I said, Josh Allen has absolutely nothing to work with on that offense. You do not want to kill the dude's confidence in his first season. Okay. I mean, honestly. Lamar Jackson, he needs to develop a couple years. I mean, I'm sure he might get his chance next season, but if I'm the Ravens, I mean, I'd be bringing back RG3 and doing a little QB competition between him and Jackson next season. All right. Then who else do we got? Any other rookie quarterbacks? Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen's the only quarterback I'd say that should be starting week 1. But of course, I mean, he's the only guy who's not going to have a QB competition. That's going to be Sam Bradford starting week 1. And I mean, Cardinals are right. The Cardinals are smart, okay? I trust them. They have a plan. They know what they're doing. Cardinals are a very tip-top organization, I'd say. Okay? I do think Josh Rosen right now is the best quarterback among the guys that were drafted this season. But nonetheless, I mean, the Cardinals got a real solid team right here. See what Sam Bradford can do for you, and if you do need to go to Rosen, then you go to Rosen. All right? I like Christian Kirk. I like Fitzgerald still there. David Johnson, going to be just as good as he was the year before he got hurt. All right? Let's not forget that David Johnson didn't have a lower body injury. It was a wrist injury or hand injury. I couldn't remember exactly. All right? So he's going to be fine. But yeah, Josh Rosen definitely going to be the, I think, best quarterback out of all these guys, honestly. Maybe Lamar Jackson if he gets the right development, and I think he could. All right. But yeah, I mean, Josh Rosen's the only guy I would start this season. Okay. And with the Jets, I mean, McCown's making $10 million a year guaranteed. Do you really want to keep that on the bench or no? I'd say no. That's a lot of money to keep him on the bench. All right. But then again, I mean, QB market is all different and all that for backup quarterbacks. So who knows? All right. And if you start Darnold, I mean, you got McCown obviously on a guaranteed deal. Are you going to keep Teddy as the third quarterback or are you just going to cut him? All right, and if the Jets cut Teddy Bridgewater, he's done. All right, so I don't really see Sam Darnold starting week 1, but nonetheless, we'll see how it all goes down. So we're going to wrap it up here. Next up, we're going to be talking about other things going on in the world of football, so stay tuned, and I will be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. As you know, I've done a lot as far as talking about this whole Terrell Owens versus the Hall of Fame saga. All right, and every time I feel like we've reached the end of it, okay, we can just move on, someone else adds their 2 cents in, okay? And it seemed like there hasn't been a lot of support for Terrell Owens here, and there's been more support for the Hall of Fame. Michael Irvin is one of those who shows the support for the Hall of Fame, okay? He says that he agrees with the Hall of Fame's decision not to acknowledge T.O. individually during the enshrinement weekend over at the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, okay? Michael Irvin says that we can't spend, and this is a quote, okay? We can't spend this moment for all these other guys talking about the guy that is not here. You cannot do that and take that away. He's doing his own thing wherever he's doing his own thing. And God bless him. And when they mention the class, they'll mention him. But why should you steal those other guys' moment because of the decision of this one? All right. As far as their move, the Hall of Fame, I think it's the right move. They're not saying he's not going to have a bust in the room. They're not saying he's not getting his jacket. They're saying we're honoring his wish. He doesn't want to be here with us. We're going to mention him as little as possible. I think it's the right move. Okay. Those are Michael Irvin's comments. And Michael Irvin makes sense here. He makes very valid points. All right. And this is probably the first real decent explanation I've seen. Okay. So, yeah, Michael Irvin, sure. What you're saying is true. Okay. Well, my point here is that this is all on the Hall of Fame. Okay. The Hall of Fame choosing not to acknowledge him just adds more gasoline to the fire that it's already going on. Okay. It really is. All right. Because you know what? When Terrell Owens announced that he was going to be holding his little ceremony thing somewhere else, you could have just said, okay, and left it there. All right. No one would have asked any more questions and it would have been over with. Okay. But nonetheless, you saying that we're not going to acknowledge him is, like I said, adding gas to the fire. All right. And one thing I don't understand is that we've seen Terrell Owens over his career. Okay. None of us really know what kind of person Terrell Owens is. As much as you might think you know these players, you don't. Okay. Remember, we only see what the media shows us and what the players allow us to see. We can only perceive what they act and what kind of people they are through that. Okay? You can't definitely say you know a person when all you do is watch them play football and give a couple of quotes at press conferences and all. Okay? Of course, there's the off-the-field stuff that happens, and that does give you a bit of a more of an idea, but nonetheless, like I said, you can't really say you know players. Okay? But from what we've seen over T.O.'s career and after, is that he's a very, very reactive person. Okay, if he feels slighted, he's not going to just sit there and be silent. He's going to give his 2 cents. Okay, and I think that dating back to a few years ago when T.O. was first on the Hall of Fame ballot, the Hall of Fame voters should have actually thought instead of, you know what, oh, let's send a message. Okay, you should have maybe used your brains on this one. Should have thought, hey, if we don't vote T.O. in for the first 2 years, what kind of story is this going to build up, and is this good publicity? Okay? Because you know what? If they vote T.O. in the first time, T.O. goes to the Hall of Fame ceremony, enshrinement ceremony, gives his speech, and we never talk about it again. This isn't even a topic. It's, oh, congratulations Terrell Owens for making the Hall of Fame. Great player. Top 3 ever at his position. Okay, and for those that disagree, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. There's no opinion on Terrell Owens being a top 3 receiver. It's the truth. Just check the stats. All right, people will point out, he wasn't a great teammate, so he's not one of the greatest players at his position. No, it's not how it works, okay? You can't, on the field, as far as his play on the field is different from the way he acts in the locker room and all that, okay? Whatever you think, Terrell Owens is a top 3 receiver. All right, and that's just the bottom line. Okay. But nonetheless, like I said, okay, and like I said, there's a bunch of people siding with the Hall of Fame. I mean, you even got Dick Vitale. Okay, why is Dick Vitale giving his 2 cents? All right, I love Dickie V. I think he's hilarious, and I think he's great to listen to as far as college basketball. All right, but seriously, Dick Vitale is out here bashing Terrell Owens too? We're not bashing, but going against him here. Okay? Look at it. Dick Vitale tweeted at him, change your mind and receive your well-earned honor at Hall of Fame. Don't be #childish in all caps. Look at, he did the #childish all caps and then an exclamation mark after that. What a message to young people if you don't get what you want and say, hell with it. Supposedly he's upset that he wasn't the first ballot pick. Okay? I don't necessarily think T.O. sending a bad message to the kids. Okay? It's honestly kind of hilarious that he put that. But yeah, I don't think so. Okay. If anyone's being childish too, it's the Hall of Fame voters. You can't tell me that they didn't vote T.O. in because of his on-the-field play. All right, because the dude is definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer with his on-the-field play. Has T.O. ever got in trouble off the field? Crickets, because he hasn't. Okay? Was he the best teammate? No. All right? But you know what? Neither was Michael Irvin. Okay? Believe it or not. I'm not going to get into all of that, but Google is your friend, and there's a lot you can search up as far as the kind of teammate Michael Irvin was. Okay? I mean, if we want to get into bigger, you know who else was a terrible teammate? We're going to go to a different sport here. Michael Jordan. Okay? Let's not act like Michael Jordan was the greatest teammate. But no one talks about that. Okay? And there's plenty of other guys in the NFL Hall of Fame who have off-the-field issues and were terrible teammates. But there was no problem with them getting voted in. All right? But for some reason, because Terrell Owens was the loudest person in the locker room, he doesn't get in because of that. All right? But we have no problem voting in other guys, okay? T.O., as far as the criteria for him to get in, was completely different from literally every other person's in the Hall of Fame. Okay? T.O. had to pretty much wait a couple years, because he was being judged differently than everyone else. All right? And I think that's a problem. Okay. So I have no problem with T.O. doing his Hall of Fame ceremony somewhere else. All right? If anything, T.O. is the one who's getting treated unfairly here. Okay? And T.O. isn't necessarily in the wrong. I mean, how do you expect to, like I said, we've seen T.O. over his career. He's a guy, he's a reactor. He's going to react. Okay? And if you do this and you're the Hall of Fame voter, you should know T.O. is going to react. All right? So this is on the Hall of Fame and not T.O. And that's probably the last I'm going to say on it, unless something else comes in or someone else gives their 2 cents. All right? But definitely Dick Vitale giving his 2 cents on this all is one of the funniest things of this whole story. Okay? But nonetheless, I mean, that's all I got to say on that. All right? Do I think it, like, T.O. getting judged on different standards compared to everyone else is ridiculous? Okay? I mean, actually, like, think about it. There's so many other guys in who have off-the-field issues and were bad teammates, but nonetheless got in quicker than others. All right? Think about that one for a sec. So we're going to wrap it up here. Today, we spent that first segment talking about Le'Veon Bell and the Steelers. Okay? Second and third segment, we talked about rookie QBs. And then for this fourth one, we talked more about the whole Terrell Owens situation. All right? So thanks for listening to the GSMC Football Podcast. I will be back tomorrow, so stay tuned for that, and I will talk to you guys later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.